Today on the Topping Show, the comments section without Brett Cooper is on track to have 0 subscribers by July as I dive into the updated statistics on all the Daily Wire content makers. Democrat lawmaker also sterilizes herself because of her irrational fear of what she calls Trump's America. Ford CEO admits that EV trucks and SUVs are terrible for towing, and Pella windows are being recalled due to a battery issue. All of that and much more on the Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of the Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services provider with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Ease me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. Yes, it does come with a fun Picatinny rail adapter, so you can mount it to any standard AR-15 like all awesome accessories can be. Go to toppingtechnologies.com and click the Flamethrower button to learn more, or click the URL in the video description below. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, you have the Ford CEO admitting that EV trucks and SUVs are basically useless for what they were made for, aka towing. Granted, a lot of trucks these days are mostly pavement queens that spend about 99.99% of their time in a city or on, small, or I'll just say the usual roads that are perfectly paved, so to say. And they might go to Home Depot once per month to maybe get some mulch. Let's be honest, most of them aren't actually towing stuff, but for the people who actually do buy trucks for what they're engineered and made for, yeah, the EV route is trash, so to say. Now, this comes to us thanks to Motor1.com, and there you can see the Ford F-150 Lightning with, I was about to say in all its glory. The only thing attractive about that picture is it looks like they have a vintage Airstream RV being towed behind it, which means it's probably went to at least, they could probably go at least 18 miles while they're towing that. I'm only kidding, maybe 25, but in all seriousness, this Motor 1 article is credited to Christopher Smith, who's the writer over there, and he says, quote, Ford CEO admits electric pickup trucks and SUVs aren't good for towing. Jim Farley was also critical of large EVs in general, saying that they have, quote, unreasonable problems due to weight and high battery cost, which is kind of funny and maybe a little ironic that Jim Farley, the CEO of Ford, who I greatly admired since he's a racer, he is very enthusiastic about making a sports car with a V8 and a stick shift, which these days is ridiculously rare, unfortunately. So I greatly admire him for that. But he also, as the CEO, came in and he killed every car Ford makes, partially because companies really don't make much profit on cars. Trucks, SUVs, and crossovers, that's where the majority of the profit margin comes from with major automotive manufacturers. When it comes to cars, I mean, shoot, even GM was losing like $450 per Chevy Cruze sold, which used to be their subcompact. I mean, cars are a loser, but I would argue a great loss leader get someone into the brand in the wider portfolio for later down when their purchasing cycle. Ford a couple years ago said we're going to kill the cars, and now Jim Farley's going, oh yeah, we need cars for EVs to make them work. We need to make lots of small cars, which, I mean, again, Ford hasn't made small cars in several years. Though I do greatly appreciate the Ford Focus ST. Only came in a stick shift, got 4 cylinders of glory. Unfortunately, it's too small to fit a rifle case, and I knew it was not going to be as reliable as a Honda, so when my time came, I bought a Honda Civic Si myself. Now, diving into the article, he says, quote, Ford debuted its all-electric F-150 Lightning to... This guy's, I don't know if he's a comedian, Chris Smith, but I mean, made me chuckle. Considerable fanfare a few years ago, which about 18 people really were passionate about having the Ford F-150 Lightning. Who wouldn't want a Ford F-150 that's even less reliable than their average Ford F-150? And that's what you get. You get an EV Ford pickup truck, which has updates that brick it so you can't move it when it's being updated. Sometimes you have those errors. And also, you can't tow anything. I still understand. I can't but think these are only pavement queens, people who love tech. No one who actually needs a truck, I suspect, will ever buy, with the current tech we have, an EV truck because it doesn't work. Now, they say, quote, the automaker built it as a proper full-size truck that could do truck things, including towing big trailers. Technically, that's correct, but it's no secret that several factors work against EVs as towing vehicles, which Yeah, the best thing on the YouTube when it comes to EV pickup trucks and showing how useless they are is when Tyler Hoover a couple years ago got the F-150 Lightning, and pretty cool video, actually towed a vintage Ford Model T behind him, and he compared, what was this Ford F-150 Lightning like before and after towing. Yeah, spoiler alert, when he tried to tow a Ford Model T, which, I mean, those are pretty darn lightweight, but just trying to tow that, the range just crashed to basically nothing. We're talking more than 50% just dropped off. Now, they say, quote, speaking to the media during Ford's 2024 financial conference call, which I can only imagine how depressing that call was, CEO Jim Farley conceded that full-size battery electric or range-extended electric vehicles are not great platforms for towing. He says, quote, it's not great. If you tow, it's not good technology. The batteries have to be too big. And here you can see a Ford F-150 Lightning, even more rare, running in the winter. Maybe I should say allegedly running. The photo is actually of the truck on the side of the road. An appropriate home for most Ford vehicles, but it's in the winter with a trailer behind it, and it's not actually technically moving forward. Now, they say, quote, simple being isn't the problem. While battery costs are coming down, Farley believes that massive batteries required for big vehicles are still cost prohibitive at this point. Now, Jim Farley says, quote, for larger retail electric vehicles, the economics are unresolvable. These customers have a very demanding use cases for electric vehicles. They tow, they go off-roading. They take long trips. These vehicles have worse aerodynamics and are very, very heavy, which means that very large and expensive batteries are needed. Retail customers have also shown that they will not pay any premiums for large EVs, which hopefully Trump gets rid of those ridiculous EV subsidies so you don't get that $7,500 thing on every vehicle, that refund. They say, to that end, Ford has already concealed plans for their large 3-row electric SUV. In a world of pickup trucks, the company teased a full-size electric truck that was, quote, something different from the Ford F-150 Lightning back in 2022. Little has been heard of this next-gen EV since, at this point, it's unclear whether it will reach production. Spoiler alert, probably not. I mean, demand crashed so bad Q4 2024 when it comes to the EV platforms at Ford that, they actually shut down the factories because there's such few demand and they're collecting copious amounts of dust at dealerships. Yeah, it's usually something you don't see in the automotive world, just shutting down production lines for not days, weeks, months. That is ridiculously bad. The only thing worse than that would be Jaguar, would shut down production for a year because they have such anemic small demand for the Jaguar SUVs these days and cars, and they're also retooling for their EVs, which that should be a joke in and of itself. I'm sure time will tell. Now, Jim continues saying, quote, however, Ford is moving ahead with plans for an extended range EVs that utilize a combustion engine to charge smaller battery packs, which, great idea. GM had that idea like 10 plus years ago, the Chevy Volt. I digress. Jim Farley continues saying, quote, Ford will be developing flexible body on frame and unibody platforms for these designs and these multi-energy platforms and powertrains that are needed given the realities of consumer affordability and range requirements. Now, I say EU, not just because, the average EV is pretty boring as hell because it only has 2 pedals, no stick shift. So, to me, boring. But it's an instance where the more and more, unibody and some of these, GM is actually wanting to do this as well, where they make the battery a structural component of the vehicle and integral to the frame, basically, so that it is such a core to the vehicle, it's not conceivable to replace the battery without replacing the whole vehicle in and of itself. I mean, it's becoming a point where it's almost like the part of the frame of the vehicle. It's so structurally important, you can't conceivably remove it and replace it with a new one, which I hate because it means it's more disposable, as EVs are usually by default, which, as someone who likes to hold on to their cars for, decades and get a good ROI out of them, well, you're not profiting, but you know what I mean, good bang for your buck. That's why I'm not a big fan of any EVs by any manufacturer personally. Now, he also says, quote, we've learned actually that it wasn't popular to invest in hybrids. It turns out it was a good move. You're drunk, Jim. Again, I am probably the number one antithesis fan of hybrids. I don't like them. I like cars that last forever, not disposable cars, with batteries that go bad so quickly and are worth, a car in and of itself. As much as I don't like hybrids, I have to concede the largest growing category in the United States in terms of adoption rate of technology from an end user perspective is hybrids. Toyota, unlike the competition, read the room right. When everyone else was going all in on EV, Toyota invested quite literally $7+ billion into hybrid technology research and development, which helped them become, yet again, the number one automotive manufacturer on the planet for the 5th year in a row. Hybrids was a big combustion. Oh, I guess I could say it's a hybrid. It's got an ICE engine there. A big combustion of their sales. That pun was, I tried to make the pun, it obviously fell flat. That pun is unreliable as a motor made by Ford in of itself, some might say. But yeah, hybrids are growing in popularity in the US. Even if I'm not a fan, that's what the numbers are saying. That's why I'm surprised, Jim saying that it's not popular to invest in hybrids. Where, I mean, it kind of is, as much as I don't like them. So, I mean, it's funny to see that Ford is actually conceding that, yeah, these aren't really used for towing. It's not going to be good for the actual use case. And again, the caveat you always have to have with EVs is, well, it's a technology, just like most technologies, it moves very quick. There very well might be a magical technology tomorrow that solves a majority of the issues with EVs. I'm very skeptical about the long-term ownership. I don't think an EV will ever outlast a Japanese car like a Camry with an ICE engine, or an Accord or a Civic that'll last 400,000 miles plus. We'll see. But yeah, that in terms of diminishing range capacity when it comes to towing, the only use case I could ever conceivably think EVs would be good for a truck or semi-truck perspective would be if you have to tow something that weighs relatively nothing but takes a very large amount of space. What does that mean? Well, stuff like Frito-Lay's potato chips. Those bags are mostly air. Well, technically nitrogen, I believe. I forget because if it was air, it was actually go stale. But ADHD aside, the components, it is mainly air. They weigh basically nothing, but they take a lot of space and are a pain in the ass to transport. So in that area, I could see that being a real use case for, large EV semi-trucks and trucks for transportation. But besides that, let me know in the comments, what do you think the real use case is? And what do you think the percentage is of trucks that actually go off-road and then trucks that actually tow anything in it themselves? And do you think Ford sales will pick up this year? And do you think they'll actually make a profit on their EVs? Again, they're still losing billions of dollars on EVs. They're technically moving in the right direction, very similar to Rivian and Lucid, where, again, they have years of losing money. Tesla lost money for, what was it, like a decade plus? There's a lot of upfront investment when it comes to EVs. Eventually, some companies, well, Tesla, are starting to make a profit on it. But do you think that'll happen in 2025 with Ford? Or do you think it'll continue to be a loss leader and maybe they'll just keep slowly inching, or, well, better pun would be slowly charging in the right direction? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Cultural Product Podcast, you have the comment section without Brett Cooper, on track to have 0 subscribers by July, as we do a update and the statistical analysis of all the Daily Wire top fans, or rather more accurately, the top producers on the platform. Interestingly enough, some of them have the same exact adoption rates, or rather increase in subscriber rates past couple weeks, which, as you might say, is sus, because time is too precious. You can't possibly spell out and say suspicious. But I partially digress. This is, a lot of people are speculating, and I partially think you always want to be careful about single variable analysis, but I think part of it is because a lot of people are irate that, again, famously, Brett Cooper is no longer in charge of the comment section. It's now led by Reagan, which many people call Timu Brett Cooper, since she seems to copy pretty much all of Brett Cooper's mannerisms, looks, and even her voice tone as well. And a lot of people are unsubscribing to her channel in record number. That's why, statistically speaking, she is on track to have 0 subscribers. Again, the comment section by July this year. But a lot of people are wondering, is that having a ripple effect on the other channels and the other talent at the Daily Wire? And a lot of people, well, I myself am wondering, are they dramatically decreasing their marketing dollars, which previously had helped them explode in popularity, because maybe they're getting ready for acquisition or a sale? I mean, Jeremy Boring, the co-CEO and founder of the company, famously said he thinks that, the Daily Wire would be a great addition to like Fox News or the Fox channel. And they're recently valued at $1 billion with, I believe, a yearly revenue of $200 million. They're probably the #1 most successful conservative news startup, I would say, since Fox News. And Fox News has been a joke for decades in terms of, mediocre material, as well as, being foolish enough to sell off intellectual property and things like Fox Studios and the X-Men. But I partially digress. So we'll go ahead and we'll look at a couple of individual pages of the shows, and then we'll look at a comparison chart at the very end. Now, coming up is the most popular OG, I believe it means the original gangster, so to say, Ben Shapiro. Now, he's up to, again, still ridiculously successful, 7.22 million subscribers. I mean, that is astronomically successful. 4.2 billion views. That is incredible. That's a lot. See, we got B plus rating thanks to, or according to socialblade.com. And it looks like his views are up. I mean, his views are up 65.1% compared to the previous 30 days. Now, again, the top talent at the Daily Wire did take the Christmas holidays off, or in his case, Hanukkah, but they still posted new content on their channel. Granted, it's, baked material where, they record it previously, then they post it, but they didn't have their live daily show. So a lot of people are speculating that's probably a contributing factor why one of the reasons they had such a decrease in viewership. Though again, with Brett leaving, the comment section is obviously that's not the main issues because the main talent left. Now, interestingly enough, subscriber count, he's down 300%, which is that's not too great. And interestingly enough, I don't know how this is possible. He had a couple of weeks where there's no subscribers. And again, this is the top talent. The Daily Wire, for Ben alone, spends about $132,000 per month on the Facebook, making sure he's the top conservative news talent on the platform there. And that's one social media platform. They advertise on all the major social media platforms, spending millions of dollars getting their talent in front of new prospective viewers and listeners. It is almost unfathomable, almost statistically impossible for him to have near zero. And yet, you look at the data, looks like in the past 30 days, he's only got 20,000 new subscribers, which for him is terribly small. For me, that'd be life-changing. I mean, I'm trying to just get to 4,000 subscribers, and technically I will get there in the future. Statistically speaking, I'm in the right direction. But, I mean, only 20,000 in a month, which previous, his growth rate was much better than that. I mean, there's some months he was getting, what is this? A couple 100,000 per month. Then just kind of kept going down, down, down. And then the worst was, again, the worst in his channel history was the past 30 days. Even when you look at the last holiday season, over a year ago, there was a dip, but it wasn't to the fact where it was hitting literally zero, as you see on the chart there. Which, again, I can only suspect because they're spending either they're spending zero marketing dollars, or more and more people are just having a ripple effect, boycotting the comment section. So to me, it's just so bizarre to have 0 subscribers. And this is their top talent. He's got over 7 million subscribers already on the YouTube alone. And you look at the views, past couple years have been going down as well. Again, especially that last couple months. Even more than the previous year when, again, there seems to be a natural decrease around the holiday season. So it's interesting to see Ben's fallen so far. Now, that being said, still one of the most popular talents on the platform. I mean, they're estimating he got 65 million views in the last 30 days. That's still ridiculously great. Now, going to Matt Walsh, hashtag Sweet Baby Gang, which, if you know, you know. I dare not say anymore. But looking at his growth rate, he also has, again, more subscribers, but he also only gained 20,000 as well, which is really weird. Now, in terms of the view count, pretty good. He went up by 66%, nearly the same as Ben. So Ben went up 65.1% views past 30 days, and Matt went up 66.8% in past 30 days. Now, if you look at his subscribers, he's actually got a couple of words down to 0 as well, where I thought it'd be much higher because he recently had a couple more, box office successes, documentaries. One of the most famous ones a couple years ago, which led to astronomical growth for the platform, would be What is a Woman? A fantastic, hilarious documentary. And that led to the Daily Wire. Again, they don't just have the YouTube subscribers. A lot of the revenue comes from their own platform where people pay a subscription as well. It's called Daily Wire Plus, like pretty much every news platform is. You got to have that plus in there I guess maybe every news platform is just really enthusiastic about mathematics. So you got to have that plus. It just sounds cool, maybe. Nevertheless, that's where they get a lot of the revenue as well. And yet, in the past 30 days, he's only got 20,000 subscribers. Which again, for Matt, that's not great. Now, in terms of Matt, he's had 1 or 2 instances, I think it was May last year, where he had no new subscribers. Or realistically, just statistically so small that the platform didn't catch it. So maybe just a couple hundred, which relative to his channel is basically nothing, relatively speaking. But yeah, past 30, 60, 90 days, there's been that big crash as well. And yeah, at least it's not going down. Now, you also have Michael Knowles, or wait a minute, Rachel Maddow? No, Michael Knowles. I know they want to try to diverse the platform at the Daily Wire, but I don't think they've hired Miss Maddow yet. Maybe. But I mean, Michael Knowles, Interestingly enough, about the same growth rate in terms of views past couple weeks or past 30 days. He also has 70% more views, which again is still great. 21 million views is astronomically successful. He also has increased subscriber rate. Now he's actually doing a lot better than Ben Shapiro, which is pretty impressive because again, Ben is the co-founder of the company. I mean, I think he has the best brand recognition, and again, he still has the highest subscriber count. But Michael Knowles, his growth rate for subscribers is 50% increasing. But interestingly enough, that number is still only 20,000. So Ben Shapiro got 20,000 more subscribers. Matt Walsh got 20,000 more subscribers. And Michael Knowles got, 30,000 more subscribers. Now, looking at his views, again, they went down recently a couple of times throughout the past couple of years. He's had a couple instances where they have a couple of weeks where there's zero additional subscribers. But again, past 30 days, only got 30,000 more. Views are going down, especially past 60 days. And then, again, the gains, worse than last holiday season as well. Now, I also have Andrew Klavan, who's known for something. I'm kidding. He's probably the most underrated personality on the show, or rather on the platform of the Daily Wire. He's had a couple good takes. I've tuned into him once or twice throughout the couple of years. He's got right under 1 million subscribers. He's got 800,000 subscribers. Now, for him, I mean, I don't think they spend any money at all. I feel almost bad for him in terms of like marketing. I've seen commercials for the Ben Shapiro show like in the past. Interesting enough, I haven't seen any commercials for any of the Daily Wire talent in the past 90 days. I mean, I haven't heard a peep about the comment section. And just with the magical technology, you mentioned it. Usually they sell that data off to get that crap in front of you, or just like I mentioned, like mechanical keyboard, you'll get 20 new messages, or more accurately, advertisements on the Facebook talking about keyboards. Same thing happens for other things like media, and yet I haven't had a single ad for the comment section. I talk about that maybe once a week or twice a week, and yet I have not seen a single ad for Reagan and the new host of the show. Well, it's been a couple months, maybe not new anymore, which means they got to be spending $0 on marketing. Now, Andrew Klavan, he's actually down 60%, got 6,000 new subscribers past 30 days, which again, it's still positive in terms of these gaining subscribers, but still just really going downhill in terms of, geez Louise. And his views are also crashing. Now, interestingly enough, he was averaging, a couple million views. Then he got 35 million views in February 2024 and March. And then which I can't think that does not happen organically. They got to be paying for, again, marketing is, it's a fair game. People are, putting their stuff out there, promoting it. I've tried it a couple times and, kind of a hit or miss in terms of the success of, gaining new subscribers and viewers. But it looks like he has two ridiculously abnormal where, again, he got 35 million views in a month. That happened twice. And then it immediately dropped down to 15,000. So it went 35 million, 15 million, 35 million. And it's just been downhill ever since. When it comes to subscribers, exactly the same. Yeah, pretty much exactly the same in terms of, you got a bunch during that time, 2024, and then just going downhill ever since. Now, the good news for all of them is that it doesn't appear anyone is unsubscribing to any of those folks. But that changes in a second. You also have Jordan Peterson. He is down 25% for subscribers past 30 days. Now, his views are up only 7.6%, but I know he also has several media platforms, and this is specifically talking about the YouTube analytics. But Jordan Peterson, he's doing a little bit better than the folks. He's got 50,000 additional new subscribers. His views, the antithesis of everyone else, they actually went up past 30 days pretty dramatically, which is pretty impressive, and as well as subscribers. So Jordan Peterson is actually bucking the trend and then some. Now, in terms of, not bucking the trend, let me pull up the comparison chart here, which I actually just found this on the Social Braid. Let's see here. Pull up Brett Cooper really quick before the comment section before we do that. Oh, geez. This is like a bad stock. I can't but think they're just going to sell it. I don't know, just close it down. I mean, she's down. Wow, the views are down 59.6% to 9.91 million. Subscribers are down negative 67%. So they're still actively losing subscribers. She's, again, down to under 4 million. It's 3.95 million subscribers, which, again, is still a record on the YouTube. But for her, that is crashing like an airplane manufactured by Boeing. A little dark humor there. And it's not looking good. And the earnings for that channel, now granted, again, the Daily Wire makes a lot of their income from sponsorships, ad reads, Birch Gold, all the VPNs in the world, and also for the Daily Wire Plus subscription. So again, it's not like they're only making money from the YouTube, but I think Ben Shapiro has publicly said on platforms, it's about 30 to 40% of their income. So pretty significant. And the earnings, and again, this is the estimate from Social Blade, it's between $30,000 and $500,000 per year, which for an individual is life-changing. I mean, geez Louise, that's enough money I could pay off my student loans and get a Porsche even, or, Corvette. Well, a vintage Corvette, because the new Corvette's only 2 pedals. But nevertheless, that is life-changing money, $500,000. But that's best case scenario, or $475,000. But the Daily Wire has 250 employees, mostly full-time, and they have to pay them not only salary, but health insurance, benefits. So you got 250 plus employees and about 6 media personalities. They can't be making money on her channel anymore. I don't think this is sustainable from a business perspective. She's getting about 30,000 views per video, which again, as an individual, that's great. I wish I was getting 30,000 views per video. I think my top was maybe 3,000. But I don't have 250 employees for the media company. Thankfully, I have a very handsome, awesome sponsor. The Topping Show is sponsored by Topping Technologies for all your IT needs. Go to toppingtechnologies.com, get a free Flamethrower with every IT purchase. Which, again, I can afford to lose money on the media show because I could offset it, I got a sponsor. But it's one of those things where they can't be making any money on the show anymore. It's got to be in the negative by now. Maybe that's why they're not spending any marketing dollars on Reagan and her show, because they just think it's going to be they just don't think it'll come out of this nosedive. Now, I say that, again, the past 30 days, she's lost 130,000 subscribers, just gone. And I say she's going to be out of business, by July 2nd, because statistically speaking, if she keeps losing subscribers at this rate, she will go down to 0. Now, that's one of those things where statistics, yes, but reality is it'll never be down to 0. She has some folks in this comment section who do stick up for her, allegedly bots, we'll see. But there are a couple of real profiles I found where people are sticking up for her, and they I was about to say what she brings to their table or her style. Well, but let's be honest, her style is basically just Brett Cooper. Same mannerisms, same bombastic voice, which, and again, it's a good voice tone, but I mean, that's what we knew Brett was for. But same hand gestures, same studio, same background. The Daily Wire can even spend like $20 to get some new things to put on the wall behind her. Come on, you guys are worth $1 billion. You couldn't change the studio a little bit? I don't know, to me, that's just lazy, and it just doesn't feel as personal when you don't personalize your background, which I would say is one of the things that make the YouTube funny or fun and interactive and personal, is that you make your own background. It's your show, but I know it's a mass production from the Daily Wire. It's not actually, her area, but that was the illusion they were going for. And I mean, the worst, it looks like her worst month, she lost 380,000 subscribers, which, yeah, that's not great. Now, going to the comparison, I decided to compare it with, let's see here, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, and the comment section. And here you can see the growth rates for all of them, which they all look about consistent. Pretty steady. Got a nice little bump in July 2023. I believe, was that when Lady Ball? No, I think no, that was What Is Woman when that came out, I believe, which really helped Matt Walsh stratosphere in popularity. And here you can see everyone. It looks like the comment section topped out about 4.51 million subscribers. And you can see, Ben is barely growing at all. Matt Walsh is barely growing, but still technically growing in subscriber count. And then crashes down. Well, specifically, the comment section crashes down to, again, now they're at 3.95 million. Wow. So you got, 4.51, 4.52, 4.52 million, then crashing down to 3.95. And again, you look at the estimated earnings, you see all these charts, and here you can see, they estimate by July, Ben Shapiro will be all the way up to like nearly 8 million subscribers. Matt Walsh should be about 3.75 million subscribers. And the comment section will be at 30,000 subscribers, and then she will quickly go down to 0 on, what is this, July 23rd? Or sorry, July 27th. So, and again, it's one of those things where statistics, you have to take it with a grain of salt, because obviously there's mathematics and there's the real world. It'll never go down to 0. There are a couple of people who still like her, but it is crazy to see just all these other channels, their growth rate is decreasing. I haven't seen any marketing for the Daily Wire. And again, I talk about that show. I talk about that platform. I talk about them at least twice a week, I would say, on my show. And I probably talk about it to my friends maybe once a week on average. And yet, I don't see any pop-up ads. I don't see any YouTube pre-roller ads. I don't see any Rumble ads, which the Daily Wire is they're finally getting to posting stuff on Rumble. They should have been doing that years ago. I'm proud to say my show is on the Rumble at, the Topping Show. But I can't help but wonder, is it a combination? I suspect it's a combination of decrease their marketing spend to make the company look more profitable. So then maybe it'd be good for a seller acquisition. And then maybe just the ripple effect of people being upset that they, let Reagan or let Brett Cooper go or fired her. Well, a lot of speculation on how that really ended. But yeah, it's interesting to see. Technically, the comment section is on track to go to 0 subscribers. And I mean, the rate, it seems to be getting better, but let me know. And have you seen any advertisements in the past 30 days for the Daily Wire or the comment section? I mean, I was shocked. Like when they first had Brett leave, that's a big shock to a lot of folks. They had Reagan, her former producer, take over. I mean, I would have thought the Daily Wire would have spent a couple $1 million just putting out advertisements saying like, hey, here's our new host of the show. Like, here's her past. Like maybe could have done a cool montage, like producer becomes the talent or, something like that. And yet we really didn't see anything. It was just like an awkward thing of one day she's now sitting in Brett Cooper's chair and taking over the show. They didn't even have like a good or a traditional handoff where I thought, this is why I suspect it wasn't a cordial departure. They could have had a cool like couple episodes where they co-hosted and like a warm transition. And yet they didn't even do that. It was just bang, one day, Brett's gone and team of Brett is in her chair. I'm sorry, Reagan is in her chair. So let me know, have you seen any advertisements for those shows? Do you still tune into any of them? And do you think they'll have some good growth rates this year? Or do you think eventually they'll have to, the Daily Wire will have to turn that show off because they're just losing money on it? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have a Democrat lawmaker proudly saying that she sterilized herself in order to avoid pregnancy in what she calls Donald Trump's America, which, yeah, I can't but think maybe this is a good use case for Darwinism. It's so baffling. Well, I guess it's not baffling a Democrat would do this. It's baffling. If an average person were to say they did this, I'd be shocked. But again, this is from the party who had a literal abortion mobile and sterilization mobile outside the DNC conference. Which, yeah, remember back in the day when even Bill Clinton, back in the day, be like, yeah, how could I do a Bill Clinton impression? Yeah, come on, only Winnie Epstein's playing 27 times. We want abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. It's not supposed to be a good thing, y'all. Which, yeah, it's probably the worst Bill Clinton impression you've heard all year, but perhaps it's an accolade in and of itself. But it's an instance where that party's become so radicalized, it's now a testament and foundation of what they brag about is abortion, which I find is quite horrifying, where, again, it used to be most Americans, left and right, all agreed, this isn't a good thing, but some people thought because of medical reasons or other that, it should be something that is allowed, but you're ashamed of, and it's not something that's, people are bragging about on social media. Yeah, now we see that. They do that, and it's almost like core of their brand these days. It's like quite horrifying. Now, this comes to us thanks to Colin Rugg on X, which he says, quote, Michigan State Representative Lori Potowski says she sterilized herself thanks to President Donald Trump. The pro-abortion advocate says she refused to be treated as currency, which is why she sterilized herself, which, yeah. Why do we always have this weird look? But only 25 seconds long, so it very well may feel like an eternity. And I'm sorry, I should put a visual disclaimer since now she's on the screen, which is coming from me, that's saying something. But yeah, maybe it'll feel like an eternity, I know, but it's only 25 seconds. Although, maybe Colin's lying. Maybe she'll surprise us with a really articulate, brilliant argument, and she'll blow our minds. I mean, probably not. No, absolutely not. But we'll see what she has to say anyway. She has some type of rudimentary, like a silk quality long sleeve shirt. Aren't you in DC? Aren't you supposed to suit up and look fancy? This is your living room. But I partially digress.
I just wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about how I'm so immensely grateful for all of the work that has gone into advancing abortion rights. Obviously, voters protected the right to abortion in our state's constitution. Here in the legislature, we've been expanding that right and the accessibility to it, but there's a lot more work to do. So the anniversary of Roe v. Wade is a really good time to reflect on everything that we've gotten done, but also acknowledge that we still have our work cut out for us. I just wanted to take...
Yeah, I remember when Democrats were lying, saying the 2024 election was all about abortion? And that is, you won't be able to be able to kill your baby if you didn't vote for Kamala. Yet another lie. I'm pretty sure they have a dictionary full length of lies these days. But yep, still as Donald Trump and the founding fathers intended, it is relegated to the states. So again, if you want to have abortion up to the date of birth, they have that. It's called Minnesota, where Tim Walz is. And yeah, I'm not sure why you brag about sterilizing yourself. Now she continues saying, quote, oh, see, in just under 2 weeks ago, I underwent surgery to ensure that I would never have to navigate pregnancy in Donald Trump's America. I refuse to let my body be treated as currency by an administration that only sees value in my ability to procreate. If you know people who are questioning how serious this is, I'm going to repeat myself. A sitting government official opted for voluntary sterilization because she's uncertain she'll be able to access contraceptive in the future. Which, again, I'm not sure. Well, I guess I was about to say I'm not sure how morally vacuous or mentally vacuous she is. I would say very, very mentally vacuous. Again, you live in Michigan, a very overall pretty blue state, right next door to Minnesota, where again the people of Minnesota voted to have abortion up to date of birth. It's a states' right issue, and yeah, she thinks, oh yeah, Donald Trump's going to sweep in and change the law overnight. Which, again, for the upteenth time, he said multiple times publicly, he said he's going to leave it to the states. Which again is what I would argue, because of the basic constitutionality or lack of that noted the powers from a federal perspective. It's not listed as something the founding fathers said they should have power, so it shouldn't be relegated to the states. That's how the government's supposed to work. And yet she's all worried that Donald Trump's going to take it away, which, again, he would also never do, because it would be political suicide for a lot of Republicans, I think. And it would mean Republicans and Democrats can't raise money, both sides, on the issue. This way, on a states issue, you could push for laws that are more or less in favor of abortion, and you could raise campaign funds, which I can't help but think a lot of these hot topic issues on the left and the right are just maintained throughout our lives, kind of like, the debate of pro-gun versus anti-gun, where, again, we're America, we should have all the guns we want. So the founding fathers wanted, but there's some people who are known as communists who want to take them away. But in all seriousness, there are a lot of hot topics where it's been decades and there's really hasn't made much change, but Democrats and Republicans raised billions of dollars on campaigning on them. Now, this went pretty viral. I got 1.2 million views and 9.8 thousand likes, which I also can't help but think she reminds me of the meme or the meme of the girl who has long hair that goes down to her breast. And she says something like, a man complimented my long hair, so I cut it. And then, half the comments are saying how she should, they make fun of all the other things that are wrong about her. And obviously the fallacy of her lack of logic. And this looks like the after girl where she gets her hair cut, because now it's down to her shoulders only. And one of the top comments comes from Jack, and he says, quote, there's a serious mental illness crisis in the country, getting 3.7 thousand likes, which, yep. Yeah, Jesus. Imagine sterilizing yourself. Jesus. You have Walter Kurt saying, quote, I honestly hate seeing this kind of stuff happen. It's sad. The greatest joy you could ever have in your life is children. I feel bad for these people. Getting 2,000 likes. Yep. Lou says it's good because we don't need people like her reproducing in America. Getting 1.5 thousand likes. Colin responded saying that is not that was an issue in the first place. Getting 496 likes, which, yeah, I'm not sure what her relationship status is. You also have one bad dude saying she has done a service to humanity, getting 2,000 likes. Kyle Rugg also says, it looks like her announcement is getting bipartisan support. That's a win. Getting 1.3 thousand likes. You have Dave Bondi saying horrible publicity stunt, getting 460 likes. Yeah, it is. Colin says, there's no way is this global naive, which suggests it is indeed in publicity stunt. Embarrassing, it's self-owned, getting 436 likes. Gunther Eagleman says, quote, these people are effing insane, getting 720 likes. Fact check true. Valentina Gomez says, quote, she is brave. Her Democrat colleagues should follow her. Should follow her leadership, getting 429 likes. Which, again, they shouldn't, because if every Democrat were to do that, what would happen to the blue and hair dye industry? They would be out of business within a couple of years. I mean, they need more of the Democrats to make the sales for the blue and purple and pink hair dyes. And also the flags. You know how many new flags come out every single year on the leftist that they buy up left and right? That's half of China's economy by now, right after the iPhone. Only partially exaggerating, it's probably only 25%. You also have Based Electrician, who says, quote, this woman fears babies so much she went to the furthest level to ensure she'll never create one. Which, yeah, that's weird. Game 30 likes. Rusty Cannon says, quote, she should have just got more boosters. no likes, but she did say that. Ginger says, quote, thank you for sterilizing yourself, Representative Pahutsky. And again, I'm not actively trying to butcher her name. She says, please encourage all of your female supporters to do the same. Getting 179 likes. Master Chief, the Halo OG himself. I know he was on the X. He says, quote, in order to back Trump, Dems are checks notes. What the heck? Oh, I was going to say that on or vernacular definitely went over my head for a second there. But he says, quote, in order to get back at Trump, Dems are check notes extincting themselves, getting 181 likes, which, again, that's why a lot of people are speculating what party will be more politically larger in the future. When, again, on average, conservatives have more kids and Democrats sterilize their kids. So, again, what do you think will be the prevailing popular thought in the future? Well, that being, unless you let the conservatives go to the public schools, that's horrifying, probably going to be conservative ideology. I mean, if you just look at it from a numbers perspective. John also says she deserves a Darling Award, getting 68 likes. Cool Christian engineer, A+ for marketing, you know exactly what he does. And he says, never forget, there's a 9-month pregnant gal, and then there's another gal with a baby being held. And it says, same baby, different location. The baby on the left is just as valuable as the baby on the right, getting 93 likes, which, yeah, it's horrifying that, again, I know it's a controversial or a hot topic for a lot of folks, but, I mean, in Minnesota, again, it's so radical, it's up to 9 months plus, which, yeah, so basically the day of birth. Never forget that one Democrat senator said, oh, yeah, we'll let the baby be born, and the mother and the doctor make a decision on what happens next. That's how radical some of them are. Again, not all of them. If you look at most average Americans, the amount of folks who support abortion after 4 weeks drops off, or 16 weeks, I'm sorry, drops off dramatically. Barely anyone approves of third-term abortion. There are a couple, mostly Californians and Minnesotans. But again, I think on this topic, there's more unification than division. I think the average person would probably say it shouldn't be allowed after 16 weeks, or was it 16 weeks? I believe. But again, I think also at the end of the day, I forget which. And again, it's not the original ideology or thought, but I think the realistic future is you're allowed to do it, but culturally we find it so viscerally disgusting we don't. I think we'll see what it goes in terms of a state-by-state basis on a legislative perspective, but I don't think there are a couple states where they're making it almost close to a full ban. Let me know the comments. I'm not sure how many states will adopt that, or if just naturally, culturally, it becomes less popular in the future. Let me know your thoughts on that. We'll do one or two more comments. You have Libercat Media Tam says, quote, can Democrats do this more? Getting 30 likes. You also have Jefferson's Violence saying, quote, the Dems pushed the eugenics program against the native-born Americans while they were replacing their tax base with foreign-born workers, getting 53 likes. Yeah, another awkward conversation with Democrat friends who are big fans of Planned Parenthood. Just to ask them, oh, really? I know you like to scrutinize founding fathers, or founders of companies and the history and stuff. What was the history? What was the origin of Margaret Thatcher? What was the origin of the founder of the Planned Parenthood? Where did she strategically place all the Planned Parenthood areas? Spoiler alert, mostly African-American communities because she was racist as hell. Yeah, it's pretty evil. Salty Goat also says, quote, could someone tell her that likely wasn't necessary since chances of someone impregnating her were unlikely, getting 502 likes, which, yeah. Let's see, one more. John says, sterilizing yourself because you're scared of Trump, that's not empowerment, that's cowardice. Stop letting policies control your body and start taking responsibility for your own life, getting 148 likes. Unfortunately, that is the antithesis to many people in politics. They don't want themselves or individuals to have to take personal accountability. They want you to be dependent on big daddy government to do everything for you and you not to take any responsibility at all, which I think is the detriment to society, which is why we have so much cultural, political decay past couple of years. But yeah, definitely. And again, maybe politically thinking, she thinks this is going to be a smart move that'll gain her more donations and it'll start trending in terms of the Democrat Party. Maybe it'll become more popular, perhaps. Again, politicians are mostly self-serving, left and right. Maybe she thinks this will make her stratosphere to the top of Democrat Party and she'll get a new spot, maybe? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some folks I follow a lot of groups on the Facebook, left and right. There are some folks, especially on the feminist Facebook pages, that'll give her accolades and, I believe they say, good go, you go, girl, or something to that effect. And they'll give her some praises and stuff. But yeah, let me know. Do you think overall it's going to be a net good thing for her political career? Or do you think it might, sink itself or shoot, kind of shooting herself in the foot? Let me know your thoughts, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Pella windows being recalled due to a battery issue. Pella being the OG window manufacturer in the great state of Iowa, which, go Hawks, one of the best states ever. Now, this comes to us thanks to, United States Consumer Product Safety Commission. There you can see the Pella windows. They say, quote, Pella recalls sliding patio doors and windows due to a battery ingestion hazard, violation of Reese's law, federal safety regulations for consumer products with button cell batteries. Which I would argue is just so stupid how big and bloated our government has become and how many rules and regulations we have. But technically, this is business blunder because, again, you gotta make sure you're following the laws and you're gonna get hit with fines and bad PR if you don't. And again, that seems to be what happens here. Now, they say that, quote, this recalled products violates mandatory federal regulations for consumer products containing button cell or coin batteries. Because the sliding doors sensor panel and the Windows remote control have button cells that can be easily accessed by children. This possesses an ingestion hazard. In addition, the recalled products do not have the requiring warning labels, which, talk about a nanny government, how many warning labels do we have these days? So part of the fine is they didn't have that extra warning that says, what, don't eat battery? One of the most depressing things about American society and cultural decay and intellectual decay, and I'd argue increases of how litigious we become. I mean, back in the day, and this is from Mame, it's not an original thought, but there's a Mame where they talk about, having your car. They used to actually give you instructions on how to change your timing. And now they give you a giant warning that says, don't drink the battery acid, which, yeah, those are real warnings in the United States these days. Ridiculous how far we've fallen. Now they say, quote, when batteries are swallowed, the ingested batteries can cause serious injuries, internal chemical burns, and death. Who would have thought batteries aren't for kids? We need a warning label for that. Yeah. And here you can see a little notch on the door there. And then you can see the additional remote, which is probably about half the size of a deck of playing cards. Well, even smaller than that. It's about 3 inches by 2 inches. All because they don't have an extra couple, how do you measure ink? A couple more droplets of ink for having a warning on it. Jeez Louise. Now, I can't believe this is a recall these days. They say, quote, customers should immediately remove the battery in the sensor from the sliding door panels and the Windows remote control and replace them in an area that children cannot access. Well, let's be honest, for Americans, just duct tape it shut. Duct tape and WD-40 will fix comically a majority of things in your life. It'll fix darn near everything, it seems. Even relationships, some might argue. But nevertheless, it can fix darn near anything. And again, this isn't legal advice, but if you're really worried about that little panel sliding off the remote, add a little thing of duct tape on it. I mean, come on, really? But legally speaking, you got to remove the battery and put the battery in the eye of, throw it in the eye of Mordor or whatever, eye of Sauron, whatever. But yeah, this is a real recall in the United States. Now they say that, quote, contact Pella for instructions on how to receive free replacement remote, including shipping, or to schedule a door repair by a qualified technician free of cost. Now, Pella is also contacting all known purchasers directly for this recall, which, yeah, so they're going to give you another replacement little remote that'll have that extra warning label on it. And they're going to also you're going to fix the sliding door by adding a little extra piece of extra stuff. Wow. Now, thankfully, Silver Lining situation, no kid has swallowed the batteries yet. So, again, no negative ramifications. No one's been hurt. No one's died from this recall. Thankfully, they got away from it. Though I kind of argue that the business blunder in and of itself is that allowing the government to become so large and bloated that even this is a recall. Again, they're going to give you the same damn remote with an extra warning label slapped onto it. Now, they say you can also contact Pella Direct or through Lowe's or Builder's First Source. Stores nationwide had them online for sale between March 2024 through June 2024. Now, these doors, Jesus Louise, it's more than a Honda Civic. And the Honda Civic comes with 1, 2, 3. Well, mine came with actually more, like 5 panes of glass, versus this is like 3 panes of glass. Talking about great value. I'm kidding, of course. These cost between $5,000 and $20,000 for the doors, depending on the model, and $1,900 for the uninstalled windows, and between $60 to $110 for the remotes when sold separately. The remote costs how much? mean, owed to them. That's got to be pretty good profit margin for that little dinky dinky little remote there. Now, if you want to contact them, the recall number is going to be 25-120. Again, you can call Pella, and you would reference the recall number 25-120. And again, you got to make sure you're following all these rules, regulations. If you want to sell the products here, even if I think it's, comically pathetic that we've become so dumbed down as a society. But again, that's one of the downsides of, manufacturing and selling US. You got to make sure you're following these rules. In this case, they didn't decide to issue this recall, which is going to cost some money and also, damage their brand reliability a little bit. So, gotta say, Pella, this window recall and the button issue and this little battery issue, rather, is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So, if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. It's a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.